It's the Auburn Podcast, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. Zach Blackerby and Painter Sharpless here with you. Hello, Painter.
What's up, dude?
We got a fun show lined up. Denny Thompson will be joining us in just a second. He is Joey Gatewood's quarterback trainer, and he knows his stuff. He's based down in Jacksonville, where Joey is from. They've got a long history together, so we'll jump into that. But real quick, if you like conversations with folks like this, let us know. We will have more guests on the podcast. Just reach out to us. I'm on Twitter at @ZBlackerby. Painter's on Twitter at PaintSharpless. We'd love to hear from you. Kind of give us feedback on what you want. It's going to be a long off season, so we'll take all the suggestions that you guys have. And if you like the show, please support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/AUPod. There will be a link to that in the description link down below.
What's the easiest way, though? Because Patreon is great, and we appreciate the feedback. We appreciate you all listening, and certainly we would love it if you would support the show. But you can just go and rate us. It's that easy.
100%.
If you enjoy it, we would appreciate you rating us, and certainly, as always, appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to Zach and me.
We're now joined by Denny Thompson, quarterback trainer at 6 Points Jacksonville. Denny, how you doing today?
I'm great, guys. How are you guys?
Doing well. Yeah, so I was thinking of you while watching Joey Gatewood have a great performance at Auburn's A-Day this past weekend. Obviously, you have worked with Joey and are extremely close to him. What have you kind of heard going on throughout spring camp, and then what did you think when you saw him on the field in action on Saturday?
I actually, in full honesty, I have not seen it. I was actually at University of Georgia Saturday with a different kid that I trained, Carson Beck. And so I didn't get a chance to watch it just yet, but I've texted and talked with Joey. Mm-hmm. It doesn't surprise me at all. Joey has been progressing and working insanely hard at this whole thing. And I think what Joey has shown everyone is a couple of things. One is that he can throw a football, which is, I believe last time we spoke, I told you guys it kind of irritates me to hear people say, I don't know if Joey can throw. Joey's an elite passer of football. It's just a matter of getting comfortable in a system. But the bigger thing I think Joey has shown everyone is this means a lot to him. This is a guy who loves Auburn and loves Auburn football and loves the Auburn team that they have. And there's nothing more important right now in Joey's world than winning this job and living up to what the expectations at Auburn have always been for Joey. And that's why he committed so early. That's why he stayed in his commitment so early. And I think it's just showing now that this is really an important thing for Joey, and he's willing to put in the work that it takes and be the leader that it takes to lead this football team to where they want to go.
Denny, you said something that Coach Malzahn has also reiterated, which that there's been a change in Joey's approach to this competition battle or this quarterback battle. Have you seen that in his preparation while y'all have worked together?
Yeah, I have. And actually, it didn't start recently. It started when he got on campus there. He was an early enrollee, and I remember Joey coming back for that spring. And Joey's always been a hard worker. So early Joey, freakishly athlete Joey, was me begging Joey, hey, let's work. About his junior year in high school, the year right after his junior year ended, there was a shift of, okay, now when Joey comes to work, he's working. Like he's serious. But then when he got to Auburn, it wasn't, hey, we need to work. It was, Coach, when you picking me up? Coach, how much we working today? And then as soon as I would drop him off at his house when he's back here, it was, Coach, when are we working again? Almost annoyingly. Almost like, man, come on now. And that's what we've seen. And then this year, when he came in for Christmas and spring break, we have a pretty decent size. We have 51 guys playing college football right now that I train. And so a lot of them get together, and it wasn't even Joey just working. It was Joey leading that whole group. It was, okay, Joey's the alpha in this whole situation in Joey's own way. He's not a verbal guy. And that was that next step. And, yeah, so I think Coach is right. It's a different Joey Gatewood, and I think it's one that, if everybody's being honest, we all hoped and prayed would come because his talent is is insane. And the minute his work ethic was going to meet his talent is when we were all going to see something really special. And I think we're in the middle of seeing that right now.
Denny, I mean, it sounds like you and Joey are extremely close. Did you guys have any conversations? And if you did, what did they look like as far as when he was telling you how spring practice was going?
Yeah, we have. It's not a, hey, where you at in the competition? It's not anything like that. So It's not anything good that y'all are going to be able to run with here. It was more, just, hey, what are you doing well at? What are you struggling at? And where are you grading out at? And things like that. Things that I think the normal person is probably pretty bored about. I have a double life. I'm in the media as well. And so I am actually extremely careful what I ask these guys. Because I don't want to slip in, and I've made it a point to where if it's something the coaches are trying to keep private, then I keep it about our kid. And I know Malik's trainer is a very good friend of mine, and so we've had some conversations about what's going on at Auburn and stuff like that. And I think Auburn's in a good situation, and I think that's the important part. I think they're in a good situation. I'm going to be biased in my opinion here, but I do think that Joey is not just one of the top quarterbacks at Auburn, but I think he's got the potential to be a top quarterback in the SEC and possibly the country.
Denny Thompson joining us on the Auburn Podcast, sports radio host and quarterback trainer for 6 Point Jacks. Denny, you mentioned the situation Auburn's in, their quarterback battle. What does Joey need to do to assert himself over the summer and during fall camp to make himself the leader of this offense?
Exactly what he's doing right now. Is he needs to continue to grind, but I think the biggest thing is he needs to continue to capture the confidence of his teammates. And this is something I before we spoke, and when I was coming back from Athens on Saturday, I just kind of did what everybody does and Googled Auburn quarterback. And the thing that popped out to me is how many of the players are talking about Joey. And that just, for somebody who's been working with Joey since he was in ninth grade, that made me smile more than anything else, because I know the type of infectious leader that Joey can be in a unique way, one that, most people won't see. And so I think he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. And what my guess is the reason why he's winning these guys over is, sure, he's a freak of an athlete. God was in a really good mood when he made him that day. But in addition to that, he works really hard. And guys respect that. And not that all these guys don't, but my guess would be that on that effort grade, he's at the top every day. He doesn't take plays off. He doesn't take anything for granted. He wants to learn and learn and learn. And he's a responsible kid. And Joey's not the kind of kid that, goes out a lot and all that kind of stuff. And I think people respect that grind. And so I think he just needs to keep doing what he's doing. I know he'll be back here in Jacksonville in a couple of weeks, and he's already hit me up about, Coach, I want to go every day.
Right.
And so I think the summer's going to get off to a good start, and I think he'll just continue to build on it.
Denny, you mentioned he's not a vocal leader, but he's still finding ways to lead other extremely talented kids throughout their process of getting better for whatever stage of the career they're at. Talk about his leadership styles. I mean, it sounds like it's a lead by example type thing.
It is. It's a lead by example, and it's a relationship thing for Joey. And that's what I've had to learn. And people actually take that sometimes. I think we may have spoke about this last time, or maybe
so.
It's people take it as like an arrogance, but it's not. It's the opposite. It's the exact opposite. Joey is the furthest thing from arrogant that anybody could ever be. Joey is a very much a relationship-driven young man. And so now he's been on campus for a while, and everybody gets to know who Joey is, and he's established these relationships. What these guys are learning is that dude will do anything in the world for me. And that's, a figure of speech sometimes, but with Joey, what it literally means is I know Joey's working today. I know he's not taking this day off. Everything down from Joey's going to watch what he eats to, Joey's going to take the extra rep at practice. Joey's going to spend extra time in the room. He's going to ask the extra question, and he's going to put us in the right place. And I think that leadership starts to just kind of kind of ingrain itself into the culture of whatever program Joey is in, and people start to practice that same way. And that's really what we try to teach quarterbacks is you can spot a fake from a mile away, right? We've all been at enough practices that you see the kid that one day looks like he's pissed off at the world, the next day, he's all over the place jumping around. You're like, I don't know which one's real. And so consistency is key when it comes to leadership, and Joey is consistently caring about others. He's a servant leader, and the guy just gets after it day after day after day, and that's the consistency. And anything over and above that is going to be something that is not maintainable, number one, and it's semi-fake, number two. So I think it takes a little while for people to warm up to Joey, but once they do, they see that the guy actually is a very strong leader.
Follow Denny on Twitter at Denny_Thompson. Half of Joey's 12 passes in A-Day came from 20 or more yard attempts. You mentioned that he is a guy that's very talented at throwing the ball. Coming into spring, all the talk was about how good his competitor Bo Nix was at throwing the football. Tell us why it is you're so confident in Joey's ability to lead this offense, not only with his athleticism, but with the ability to move the ball through the air.
Yeah, so there's this whole thing with all quarterbacks as they're young, especially guys that Auburn recruits and everybody else recruits, is that they catch them at an early age and they say this kid's got a chance to do something special. And usually the formula is they're big guys with big arms, and they can spin the ball. What's happened with Joey over the past 2 years is Joey's become a quarterback, not just a thrower. And so I'll kind of phrase it this way. We've had very specific mechanical things that we've worked on and dug into last summer, over Christmas break and in the spring when I get to see Joey. And we'll continue that over the summer. And not to make boring radio out of this, but Joey had some issues in that he's just using all arm, and that's just how he threw the ball. And when you use all arm, you're inaccurate, and that's not Joey anymore. And he has worked so hard to make sure that mechanically he's on par with some of these guys who are considered good throwers of the football. And so I think now when Joey throws the ball, he throws with confidence. He knows exactly where it's going. Not a general area, not a high school open, but a college, this guy is open, I can fit it through a window. He knows where the ball's going. And with that confidence, with every throw, the confidence builds. And so now I don't think Joey has any problem at all. While he's always had the arm strength, he has no problem at all throwing the ball 30 yards down the field into a tight window. The crazy thing, and this is the thing that I'm looking forward to, is when he figures out, and I think he's close, when he figures out what it truly means to be as blessed as he is physically and have that run and pass threat, defenses are going to hate playing against Joe.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely hate it. And it's just something that you can't prep for because he can run inside, he can run outside. He'll run over you, he'll run around you, and now he can throw around you and throw over you. There's very few people that's ever been able to do that. The ones that have done pretty dang good.
And one of them is a guy that he's getting compared to a lot, and some of it has to do with the fact that he's wearing an Auburn jersey, but some people saying Cam Newton, right? As far as physically, his teammates are kind of saying he's, a mini Cam Newton or a Cam Newton Jr. What are your thoughts on that?
I was going to say, if he's mini Cam Newton, then Cam Newton's freaking huge. I mean, I know Cam is big. I've met Cam, but I think Joey's like bulking up to that point. I'm not trying to avoid the question. I don't really have thoughts because Joey's gotten into my head on this. Joey is so adamant of, he loves, that's his favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
He absolutely loves Cam Newton. His least favorite thing in the world is to be compared to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a mature thing because I think he understands that Cam is God. I mean, he's worshipped at Auburn,
right?
And he put up stats at Auburn that very few people will ever be able to match. And so I think it's probably wise of Joey. But assuming he's not going to hear this, I'll say it this way: there's a lot of similarities. I don't know that Joey has the vision running the ball that Cam had because Cam could see something from clear across the field. But at the same time, I think Joey from an arm talent perspective, not an arm strength, but an arm talent perspective, maybe a little ahead of where Cam was in college.
Denny, you've talked to us about mechanics. You've talked to us about some of Joey's personality. Now talk to me as if you were a teammate of Joey. What about his personality or his leadership characteristics, whatever cliche I can throw at you, what about him would make you say, I want this guy to lead the team?
Well, at first, I think you look at him and you can see how you can win football games. I think you see, if I'm a receiver, for example, I look at Joey and I say, okay, we're going to get a lot of scramble situations to where big plays can be made, and I can force myself open because there's somebody coming down to play the run. There's somebody coming down that's got to know Joey. We're going to get a lot of fronts and boxes from the defense that allow for passing situations. If I'm an offensive lineman and I look at his game, look, Joey's going to bail me out of a lot of things with his athleticism. But on a personal level, I do think that I think the best leadership is how hard you go, is how hard you grind. And I think these guys see Joey's grind, and I think these guys see Joey's discipline. And I don't, you guys are around the area. I don't know, from what Joey tells me and from the times that he texts me at night, does Joey go out? I mean, is he ever out? I don't know. And so it's one of those things where I just think guys see that discipline, and they know that the bigger goal for Joey is, sure, does he want to make it in the league? Yeah. But you know what he is? He's all about Auburn. He's I want to do something special at Auburn. That's where I want to do something special.
Well,
he loves it.
I was going to say, Joey's recruitment from Auburn is something that's always really impressed me with this whole, time as far as, okay, well, if, I'm not guaranteed an easy start, like I'm not going to commit to you, I'm not going to come play for you. And, throughout, several coaching changes on the offensive side of the football, I mean, Joey, it seems like he was committed to Auburn since he was like in 6th or 7th grade. That's an exaggeration, but it's very clear that going to Auburn was very important to him.
Yeah, he's never flinched on it, and he didn't grow up an Auburn fan. That's the funny thing. I mean, he's just never flinched on it. But I think that's part of that Cam Newton influence. I think he likes what Coach Malzahn does. I know that he came back kind of renewed after the bowl game. I really like what Coach Malzahn's doing, and so I think from all those different angles, I think guys just they want to be around that, and that's not taking anything away from Bo or Malik at all, because I don't know them like that. But I've been around enough quarterbacks that you kind of know when you have something special, not from a physical standpoint, but from just a kid. You know what I mean? Just we've all met that kid, and you're like, that kid's going to do amazing things. It's just different about it. Something different about him. And Joey's just that guy. It's like, I have no doubt. It's like almost a foregone conclusion to me that, Joey's going to do things that none of us even can imagine right now. And I'm excited for him to see that because he's worked hard to get there. So I do think, I'll put it to you guys this way. You were asking about the competition. My wife and I are booking. We've got a ton of quarterbacks starting on opening day next year. We're going to be in Dallas. We're going to be at Oregon, Auburn. We're booking our flights now. Mm-hmm. That's how confident I am, not in what's going on at Auburn, but in Joey Gatewood right now.
Well, Denny, a lot of the Auburn fans listening to this are pretty fired up right now. We appreciate your time. And, Denny, you mentioned you're in the media as well as got some quarterback training going on. Kind of plug all of your stuff for us and where people can find you and hear you.
Yeah, I don't know that people want to hear me. It ain't that interesting. No, we have a show here in Jacksonville. We're on the flagship station of the Jazz called the Sports Den. It's 5 days a week. You can go to sportsdenlive.com, get the information. But we have some really cool things happening with our quarterback training. We've got kids from all over the country. Like I said, 50-something kids playing in college football right now. So some pretty cool stuff there. You can follow me at Denny_Thompson or at Denny Thompson Jacks on Instagram. In fact, that Instagram, that's a hard nut to crack, man. I can't figure that thing out. So
yeah, I'm right there with you.
Go follow me on that one. Yeah, I don't. Maybe it's just an age thing. I don't know how old you guys are, but I'm 42.
Yeah.
So maybe Instagram, I need to give up on it.
Yeah, I'm pretty close. I've deleted the app a few times. I keep going back to it for some reason. I don't know why. But, Denny, thank you so much, man. I know you're a busy guy. We appreciate you spending a few minutes with us.
All right, guys. Good talking to y'all again.
That was good stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting to get a little bit of a perspective from folks who are actually working with these guys. And there's so much interest around the quarterbacks, and understandably, head coaches, Gus Malzahn in particular, want to keep this under wraps as much as they can. It's nice to have a perspective of someone who spends a lot of time with Joey and can give you a little bit about not only his physical traits, but what he's like one-on-one.
The quote, he said this last time I spoke with him and last time he was on the podcast, but God was in a good mood when he made Joey Gatewood. And, I mean, that's kind of been the biggest draw before we were kind of exposed to him becoming a quarterback, as far as being more accurate with his arm and kind of fine-tuning some technique that Denny talked about. But, I mean, physically, the guy is exactly what you want. I mean, it's a good thing to be compared to Cam Newton because of how your body is made.
I found it fascinating that on signing day that Gus Malzahn did not shy away from that.
No, he said it, yeah.
And he did go back and clarify not long after, like, hey, I just wanted to say, I'm not
like
saying he's
body,
going to, yeah.
Right.
But still, just to do that as a coach, as careful as Malzahn is, I think that gives you some insight into what he thinks the potential is, what the ceiling is for this guy. So I think it is going to be a fascinating summer because Bo has a lot to gain as he's the newest one on campus.
Right.
But Joey clearly, as Denny outlined, between his athleticism and his ability and what Denny thinks is more than capable of throwing the football, to be a very dangerous weapon for Auburn.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be a fun summer. A lot of I'm sure the same conversation will be had over and over again. But I just want to kind of put this out there, and I've kind of alluded to it. But going into spring, I kind of thought it was going to be Bo Nix's job to lose. Now I think it's all in Joey Gatewood's hands. I really do. I think he's going to be Auburn's quarterback against Oregon. Denny does as well, and I'm curious and we'll talk with Denny later in the summer when he's kind of working with Joey more and more. But I mean, just the work ethic, that's something that you can't be taught. You can kind of be taught how to work hard, but whether if you do it or not, that's up to you. And it sounds like he's doing that. And just when Jeff Whitaker was on the show back in the day, he talked time and time again on how Cam handled his business here at Auburn. Didn't go out a whole lot. Kind of stuck to himself, led through action, worked harder than anybody else in the workouts, spent extra time in the film room, and it really does seem like that's what Joey's doing. So that's
good start. If those are the comparisons,
yeah. I mean, if you're an Auburn fan listening to this, which I assume you are, that's you should be excited. I think you should be excited with what we just heard. So follow Painter on Twitter at Paint Sharpless. Follow me on Twitter at ZBlackerby. This has been another edition of the Auburn Podcast.